Another SEC championship game and another game that features Alabama and Georgia. We're going to tell you who we think is going to win it.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. I want to thank you every day for watching every day because you know what? Y'all made the Locked On Sportscast Network the number one sportscast network pod something there is. And y'all do a great job, and we appreciate you because we're part of that network, and we love you so much. And I met a Tyler Reeves yesterday at the AHSA Super 7. I got to call the Maplesville versus Wadley game. I'll talk about that in a bit because it does have a couple of prospects in it. And AHSA just always killing it. I mean, there's another fun event. I mean, the weather didn't cooperate, but it didn't matter. And unfortunately, Viger, who has Boreas Chicken Gerer, his team was shut out unceremoniously yesterday by Moody, but Moody's got some dudes. So what we're going to lead off though with, Jimmy, is the SEC championship game. Shocker. It's another big one. The more things change, the more they stay the same. You know, all we've heard all year is, all these people are catching up to Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State. And well, guess what? They're all in their respective championship games. They're all in the title hunt. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's more parity, but I don't think there's parity. And there's certainly a difference. Look, Alabama's got its weaknesses. Alabama has some chinks in the armor, some new chinks. I mean, from LT Overton and, dealing with some health stuff. Kelby Collins apparently dealing with some health stuff. The random guys that have been hurt recently, like a Jam Miller, like a Josh Cuevas. In the end, I guess, what does all this mean to you, Jimmy? I mean, does Alabama have a shot? It's only a 2.5-point underdog, but when I hear people talk about this game on a national scale, like I was listening this morning to Dusty and Danny in the morning while I was in the shower, and, Danny begrudgingly picked Alabama, but he didn't have a good reason. He was almost like, I'm just picking them because they seem to beat Georgia a lot, but everything else he said made me think he really believes Georgia's going to win. And then Dusty outright picked Georgia to win. He said, I just think they're better than Alabama now. And I feel like that's sort of the consensus. What say you?
I don't think that the national guys that are analyzing the game are fully taking into context all of Alabama's injuries. I mean, Georgia's injured too, and missing their center in Colby Young, who they've lost, wide receiver. I mean, that is going to make a difference for them and is a problem for them. But Alabama's problems are far more lengthy. I mean, and affecting far more positions. You could say it affects every position group. I'm not even talking about the guys that won't even be available if Jam plays. And I doubt that. He's not going to be 100%. If Josh Cuevas plays, and I doubt that, he's not going to be 100%. Jer missed last week. Ty's banged up. The center, Parker Brailsford, he wasn't even on the availability report this week, but we know he's hurt. I doubt he's 100%. And then now on defense, you've got LT Overton out and Kelby Collins, one of the better depth guys, out. It did sort of add up for Alabama all at the end. I think we've been a very healthy football team all year until now. Now it's added up. So I don't think any of the analysis nationally is taking into account Alabama's injury situation because it's pretty significant. Oh, mute. You're on mute.
It's early on a Friday, man. What do you want me to do? So
you've got
Alabama.
The mute shirt. I need my own mute shirt.
I got the Euro mute shirt, and ironically, it doesn't help me at all. It's really more talking to you who doesn't mute himself.
Yeah, I did it once. Remember when I was sick?
You did. That was fun.
We did back-to-back mutes. We did back-to-back mutes. That was great.
So Alabama did run out to a big lead against Georgia last time, 14-0. And I guess I'll talk about it for a second here. It made me think about yesterday's Maplesville-Wadley game. And you say, who's going to talk about Maplesville? Let me tell you something. Maplesville and Wadley is about the best rival you don't know anything about when it comes to state championships right now. Wadley has Jaquez Wilkes, who is signed with Auburn. He is easy to spot out because he's bigger than everybody on his own team, and it's not close. It's not close. Then there's Nehemiah McCary on the other side. for Maplesville. He's bigger than everybody on his team. He's about 6'3", 220 something.
He's in the 10th grade. I believe he's a sophomore. Is that now right?
Yeah, he's in 10th grade. And he plays running back just like Wilkes does. He also plays defensive lineman just like Wilkes does. And they also play other positions like linebacker and safety or whatever they need to play because they're bigger, stronger, and faster than everybody else on the team. Now, Maplesville, I think, has more help. They had a guy named Jediah Works who he just works. I mean, it's like that's not a nickname, but it should be. And then their quarterback, Jimmy, I've never seen this before. In the first quarter, Maplesville quarterback, Jurgen, I believe, had a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and caught a touchdown
on the first quarter. Or first half or first quarter.
Wadley also, by the way, fumbled on their first possession, first play of each half. Wilkes on the first one and somebody else on the second because Wilkes didn't play in the second half. He got hurt.
Let me tell you, I'm a big Wilkes fan. I watched the game, like you did. I watched it on TV and you were there, but I like Wilkes. If I was an Auburn fan, he's the one I'll be excited. I will be shocked if Wilkes isn't a good player at Auburn. I'm not saying dominant. I'm not saying All-American. I'll be shocked if Wilkes isn't a good player at Auburn.
I'm with you. I don't necessarily see All SEC even. I see very strong contributor. That said, and I think he might be at rush end, but that said, that's what this is like. Okay, in this sense that Alabama got out to a 14-0 lead against Georgia 10 weeks ago, and Georgia spent most of the game playing catch-up. Well, Maplesville got out to a 14. They had a nice long drive. Both these offenses are very, very good, and Maplesville scored. Then they kick off the first play. It's almost like the quarterback was pitching it back and handing off to Wilkes at the same time, and they just got confused and went right through Wilkes' arms, fumble, Maplesville scores again. All of a sudden, it's 14-0, and like, okay, no, it's not over. Yes, you got plenty of time, but you just start the game out 14-0. It's like, okay, and we know we're not going to stop them easily because we haven't. So it really puts a lot of pressure on you, and it sort of changes the way you look at the game. And that's what Alabama did last time. And I think, Jimmy, I really think that's what we need to do this time. I mean, it did dawn on me that, these last two games against Georgia, Alabama has jumped on them pretty good. It was 28-0.
First quarter, quarter's meant a lot.
Give me 10-0 to start out this game. I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah, Alabama's gotten off to good starts. They need to again. My chief concern, believe it or not, Georgia's a great football team. They could win the national championship. They're that good. I think they're legitimate contenders to not just be in the playoff, but win multiple playoff games, advance, and win the whole thing. I think they're that good. So no disrespect to them at all. They're great. I'm going to pick Alabama to win the game, but I'm worried about just not having enough bullets to fire here because of the injuries at virtually every position group on offense. Now, if they do, the adrenaline hits and picks it up. I do think Alabama's got a great shot here. I'm going to pick Alabama to win 23-21 with a surprise hero, Connor Talty, going 3 for 3 on field goals. That will make a big difference in the game for Alabama. I do think they will rediscover making plays outside. We haven't seen a lot of it lately. I don't think it went away. I just think they're overdue. Big plays from Germ, Lotzier Brooks, Ryan Williams. And if I had to pick an MVP, I'm going to go Lotzier Brooks Saturday. And again, I think Alabama make enough plays outside. Defensively, they will make the stop they need to win the game. In the meantime, Georgia will have some success. They're very balanced. We held Zachary Branch to no catches the first time. I think he's got a big game coming Saturday. He's just too good to hold to very little 2 games in a row. So 23-21, an exciting, fun game that's decided in the fourth quarter. I think maybe these teams, Luke, go into the fourth quarter 14-14, 17-14. I mean, it's going to be tight in the fourth quarter, and then someone will make plays in the fourth quarter. I believe that'll be Alabama.
I'm going to give you my prediction in just a second. Let's talk a little FanDuel, though. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. kind of probably that way for the Dallas Cowboys last night against the Detroit Lions. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game like a sucker. You're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment, all that stuff that we love about this sport. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, you visit FanDuel.com. Don't make me say it again. And place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you. Ironically, Jimmy and Luke don't. All right.
Especially in the mornings when we record this.
I can't. My finger doesn't move that mute button fast enough.
I'm a slow starter.
Okay. Jimmy, I have struggled. I mean, we're not journalists. I love when people in the comments say things like, how can y'all be so homerish and call yourselves journalists? Because we don't call ourselves journalists.
I'm definitely a homer. Not sure about the journalist part.
We're
Definitely
a gazillion times a homer, no times a journalist. But I also do like to keep it real, And so in my head, I have been saying all week, I'm going to hate doing this. I'm going to hate doing this. I'm going to go on the pod and I'm going to pick Georgia to win. I'm going to hate doing it. I just don't see it.
I get it.
But I woke up this morning feeling different. So I'm going with Bama.
Homer wins out over journalism again.
You'll never beat me, journalism. So Alabama 21-20. 21-20 Alabama.
21-20.
I don't have any confidence whatsoever, but I do believe in this, that this is sort of the last intangible thing in sports. Like this Alabama is sort of mini hold over Georgia. And I'm not going to be so brash as to say we own Georgia. I don't want to do that. Let's not do that.
I don't like it.
If we own Georgia, we'd be beating the crap out of them all the time. We don't do that. It is a tight game, and we seem to get one iota more that gives us that close win, right?
I think there's a lot of respect there between both programs. Even though Alabama wins all the time, I think there's a lot of mutual respect in that game for what each other's programs are and do. By the way, we like the Locked On Georgia guys. We like them enough. I mean, we ain't having beers with them all the time. We like them. They're fine. Well, they live several hours away. Yeah.
Jimmy would drive that far for a beer. Don't get him wrong, but he has not been invited. So, a lot of other guys in the comments or Twitter, they say, I don't know how y'all can put up with those Georgia guys. They're so cocky. They think they're going to beat the crap out of us again, whatever. And maybe they do, but I can tell you this. I really believe this. Deep down, those guys respect us. Not maybe Jimmy and me. They respect us Alabama-wise. And
I have conversations with them off air, especially Clint Shamblin. They respect Alabama. I can tell in the way when they talk about other games, because I hear Clint talk about Alabama more playing other teams. And then the analysis is pretty good, and he is don't underestimate Alabama. I mean, that's a thing from them all the time. But no, they expect to win every week. I get it. And
look, they should. I mean,
well, they're good. Kirby's lost like 10 games the whole time he's been at Georgia. That's
and
crazy.
Most of it been to us.
I'm sorry, 20 games. He's lost 20 games. That's
Still
the stat. 20 games in 10 years.
That's tough.
That's amazing.
So, and most of them, like Saban, came in his first year. He had not a great first. I think 7 and
virtually. I mean, 7 of the 20 losses have been to Alabama.
So, and I was reading the ESPN write up of the game, and they said it's been really weird writing about these two teams because on paper they have a lot more talent than whoever they're going against, but they're not beating teams the way they used to beat teams. And yes, that may be attributed some to the dispersion of some good talent, maybe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But in the end, see, there is an aura about certain teams. There's an aura about Alabama right now. There's an aura about Georgia. There's an aura about Ohio State, and that's just different. It's just different. And if you don't have it, you don't know what it is. Now, you can be hopeful. You can think you're going to win, but I mean, there's something different, and it's why they keep winning. So I'm going to pick Alabama to win in a very close game. I think it's going to be close. I think Alabama needs to get out to that lead, like I talked about. I'd love to see it be a 10-0, 14-0 lead. I think it could be something like that. And then Alabama holds on for dear life, and that's all you got to do. And maybe part of it is Georgia's so used to beating the crap out of everybody. When somebody doesn't bow down to them, they're like, well, why aren't you doing that? Because there was some of that with Alabama back in the early times when we were getting it rolling. When somebody didn't just lay down on the floor, we're like, that's interesting. You should be dead. Yeah. So I'm going to pick Alabama 21-20. And here's my MVP, Jimmy. You ready? Set your face to stunned. Ryan Williams.
Well, I wouldn't say I'll be stunned. If I do think it's coming. I've started to think it's coming in 2026. but I do think it's coming. And I have no doubt he has the ability to do it. I think is he healthy, and is he going to get the opportunity? I mean, that's the question for me. I think in an analysis of the game, though, one thing I'm going to look at is the rushing yards. I want to sit here and tell you guys, whoever rushes for more yards than the other is going to win this game. I don't think it's that simple. And I think Georgia is likely to outrush Alabama in the game. I think what I'm looking at in the rushing yards is don't get wiped out. Mm-hmm. If Georgia rushes for 180 and Alabama rushes for 60, Georgia won the game. I mean, I'll believe that. I think Alabama's got to keep the rushing yards within the ballpark. Keep it 160, 110, 160, 120. Keep it in that range. Alabama wins the football game. I talked a lot about turnovers last week. I don't think either team is going to turn the ball over Saturday. How about that bold prediction?
That's
no turnovers, Alabama. No turnovers, Georgia. Clean game, low scoring game. Defense is really good. Alabama will make just enough plays from the outside guys. I said lots here. Luke said Ryan. Watch it be Germ. That would be fine. Watch it be Zay again. 3 touchdowns in the red zone, Zay Horton. I think Alabama makes enough plays outside to win the game barely. If Georgia wins, I certainly won't be surprised to have all the respect for them in the world. Good football team outside of Alabama. I mean, Georgia might be my pick to win the national championship going into the CFP. I haven't decided yet.
The reason I'm picking Ryan Williams is, man, I can't tell you that. I talked to a few people. There were a lot of football folks around Protective Stadium yesterday, and all of them seem to have something to say about Ryan Williams. There's a rumor put out by 274 Sports, not to be confused with 247 Sports.
Not to be confused with actual journalists.
Even we look like journalists compared to those guys.
It
said Ryan Williams account. Said Ryan Williams is headed to LSU, and it got people screwed up because we're initially dyslexic, all of us, and so we transposed the 7 and the 4, and people were worried, but it is nothing. It's a big nothing. But anyway,
that's fake news.
It's a fake
real
account.
Fake. That's literally fake news.
But I think Ryan Williams has been gone enough and has disappeared enough to be out of the thought process of what wide receiver is going to beat us. I mean, if I were thinking, hey, who's going to beat us at wide receiver for Alabama? At the beginning of the year, you say Ryan Williams, and then, or maybe somebody else, whoever else it got. Then it turned out it's like, Jeremy Bernard is the one that's going to beat you. Or, maybe Lottie Brooks, or maybe one of the tight ends, or maybe even Isaiah Horton now, who dropped 3 tutties on Auburn. Yeah. I think Ryan Williams is sort of out of the consciousness now, and I think this is going to be a time when he's going to shine. I believe in the kid. It's still a Ryan Williams podcast. You and I have been Ryan Williams proponents. We've been disappointed in his play just like y'all.
Well, but I'm not as disappointed. I mean, he's hurt. I mean, so I just have lowered expectations based on that. Plus, Alabama's so good at wide receiver. I think when you look at okay, if you got Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton outside and Latsier Brooks in the slot, and Ryan's at 80%. Who should he be taking snaps from?
Yeah.
At that point. So
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in that he didn't have a big year. I'm disappointed in that. But again, I chalk it more up to the injuries, and not just injuries, but injuries and frustration and Alabama's better depth at wide receiver. I think it's all of it.
Yeah, it's definitely all of it. But I'm trying to think outside the box here, and you're making it sound like it's not crazy. I really need some help here. Let's talk about Aura Frames, this new sponsor we have that we appreciate so very much. And what a good idea for Christmas, y'all. Go check out Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, that's Aura Frames. That's the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos, that's everybody. Endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. Add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's open. Packaging comes gift ready, no price tag, no wrapping needed. Huge win right there. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used, not a forgotten gift in the drawer. I got a bunch of those. I'm giving a bunch of those. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. By using promo code COLLEGE, that's all one word, because it is only one word, COLLEGE, at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. The deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply, because terms and conditions apply to everything. So go check out Aura Frames.
No, we come up with the marketing pitches for our sponsors with Aura. I think it should be Aura. I've been framed.
Aura, or how about get an Aura frame, or you'll get a bad gift. Aura, you'll get
Aura, you'll get a bad gift.
Yeah. Either way, I think both of them are dynamite.
Who framed Roger Rabbit? Aura.
I like all those. God, let's do a podcast on marketing. I think we just finished it. Anyway, so tell us real quickly about a commitment, a signee we got yesterday, commitment we hope to get today, and then we'll predict a few of these other games. I ain't predicting a lot of these. I mean, we're going to predict ACC, we'll predict Big 12, and we'll predict Big 10. I'm not going down into these Americans and Western Conference athletics.
So many of them have playoff implications, though, and I'm excited about the Group of 5 championship games tonight, which I'm going to watch alongside the Saraland game. Saraland's got a lot of prospects on the field. It's just crazy, as usual. Trashawn Brown signs with Alabama. He's a running back. That's a new name for everybody. Huntsville, Texas. He's a guy Alabama's been aware of most of the season. They've been sort of tracking him. Alabama wanted 2 backs in the class because they're going to lose. You're losing Jam Miller, you're losing Dre Washington for sure, and a running back or two could hit the portal. So they want to sign 2 running backs in this class. And with Xavier Crowell, they've got the #1 back and committed most of the assets. Again, we'll have a show soon where we're just going to go over recruiting and how rev share and NIL are working these days, so everyone has a good understanding of it. But you've already got a #1 back. What that means is your budget for running back is basically spent, but we want a second back. That's what people have to understand about the second back. It's literally a second back because you've blown the budget on the big guy. And so you got to find someone that A, isn't going to be costly, and B, that you believe in. So they go, but so you watch this guy, and I watch his tape. He's fun to watch. Now I see why most of his offers were Sunbelt type offers, but he did have an offer from Boise late. I don't know if y'all have heard of Ash and Jenny, but Boise's had good backs before. This kid, about 5'9", 5'10", runs a 10.9 700 meters. So he's probably in the 4.5-ish range. What I like most about him, absorbs contact, runs through contact, runs to daylight. I think he's a good player. I really like this pickup. And for those that are like, oh, he's a Sunbelt back. Well, so was Ahmad Hardy. Heck, so was Dre Washington, who was just on our team. And I think this kid has a chance to be a contributor. But understand, this is just how recruiting works in 2025 when you want 2 backs and you've already got a 5-star. You just find someone that you think can contribute and that you kind of take a risk on here. But they like Trashawn Brown, Huntsville, Texas. He's a bit of a playmaker. I think he might be a really good 3rd down back.
And then Bryson Cooley, we expect. Well, I say we half-heartedly expect him to commit to Alabama this afternoon, but we're not sure.
Yeah, BOL has a prediction for Alabama. I rarely disagree with him, if ever, because it's kind of dumb. I'll just say this. I'll predict Alabama for Bryson Cooley today, the offensive lineman from Laurel, Mississippi. I'm going to predict him to Alabama, but my confidence in that is very low. I think he's legitimately I think he's stuck. And not just is this Alabama or LSU. I think he's strongly considering Ole Miss and Mississippi State, which are the home school. He's very familiar with those programs. Understand that and I'm just using this hypothetically, he could be a huge priority for Mississippi State. And huge priority, what does that mean in 2025 recruiting? Higher rev share than it would be for an Alabama or an LSU. So that's something that might be in the mix. But I'll go Alabama, much like mine and Luke's pick of Alabama in the Alabama-Georgia game. I'm picking Alabama. I believe Alabama's going to win. I believe Alabama's going to land Bryson Cooley. Not so sure.
Not many good reasons. We just believe. That is a good point about going against Tim Watts. It's like being in Vegas and you have a 16 looking at a 10 and the dealer goes, I'd hit it. And you go, I just don't want to. Dealer goes, I'd hit it. And then you don't hit it and he has 20, of course. So
Josh Pate would have said immunity to all that.
All right. The other games today and tomorrow, I think, is one of these games today? Maybe not. Doesn't matter. Big 12.
That's tomorrow.
I really think Texas Tech's just too good. And also, you got to think Kalani Sitake has been at least moderately distracted by some of this Penn State stuff, even though it ended up where he got a lot more money and he's going to stay at BYU. Penn State's coaching search makes Alabama's coaching search during the Franchione era look like, wow, what NASA group of NASA scientists y'all have running that puppy, because we can't find anybody.
They might end up with Matt Campbell. And 2 things. If Penn State ends up with Matt Campbell,
Not bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think firing James Franklin to hire Matt Campbell is insane. Insane. But when you consider how disastrous their coaching search has been, to land on Matt Campbell is a miracle. They should be thrilled with how it ended. But I'll once again circle back to firing James Franklin for Matt Campbell to me is insane.
It's dumb, and it only looks good because you did so many stupid things along the way, and you're like, how did you end up with Matt Campbell? But if you only draw a straight line from Franklin to Campbell, you're absolutely right. One more quick ad about this. Let me tell you something. I have no connection to Penn State people. I don't even know any Penn State fans, I don't think. But man, I feel sorry for that fan base. I mean, you put up with all the. I mean, you had to go through the end of the Joe Pa era because you couldn't fire a guy who is your living legend. Then you have all the Sandusky stuff, which nobody was pro. I mean, Penn State fans get heckled for that, but they're like, we didn't want him doing any of that stuff. We wanted to beat him up.
That's exactly right.
And
that's a great point.
Don't associate me with that. I hate that guy. I mean. And now they got to deal with this athletic director who was like, we need a winner. And so we're going to fire Franklin. And, oh, God, nobody's returning my calls. So 6 months
I think
later.
in part, I'm not blaming it entirely on this, but in part, we're not satisfied with where we are. We want to be champions type stuff. That's fine. That sounds great.
Yeah.
But now you got to hire coaches who understand, if I don't win the national championship in the first 2 or 3 years, they're going to fire me. I mean, I'm just not sure it's a great way to invite a big time, I mean, there's not many guys out there that'll take on a challenge like that.
Did you ever watch The Office? Like the episode where Mike, his branch was the only one that was doing well.
Yeah.
And he was invited to the stockholders meeting.
Yes.
And the
It's one of my favorite
stockholders were
episodes.
getting just booed because, all their performances were so bad. And then Michael was loving the limelight. So he got up and said, you know what? We're going to go in there and figure out, it's going to be a 45-point plan. We're going to figure out a way to make this company profitable in 3 months. We'll be right back. And so they go in the thing and Michael goes, okay, 45-point plan, guys. We need it. 40.45 is the company is doing well. Okay, what's 0.44? I mean, that's what Penn State was like. Okay, step one is win a national championship. Okay, now what? Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway, Ohio State.
Don't you, when you fire James Franklin, don't you have a plan, like a specific, this is the guy we want and we can get him? But they apparently fired him and didn't have a plan or a guy.
This just is crazy. I mean, I think the pressure probably got to him. I don't know. It just emphasizes the point of having a good leader. Like we do in Greg Byrne, friend of the program, great American. Anyway,
best AD in America.
Best AD in America.
He really is.
As labeled by Luke and Jimmy magazine.
Real journalists.
Yeah. As labeled by Real Journalism magazine, which had a spotlight on Luke and Jimmy. Ohio State, Indiana. Look, Indiana's only a 4.5-point dog. I have not. I'm not super pro Indiana, not because I hate Indiana, but because I feel like they are the reason everybody thinks all these other little guys deserve a shot. And frankly, Kirk Cignetti is kind of just different. I think Ohio State may bully these guys around again. I mean, they did last year, and I think they'll do it again. I think what we're going to find out is maybe Oregon wasn't as good as we thought, and that's why Indiana was able to go in there and bully them earlier in the year. So I like Ohio State to cover this almost kind of easily.
Yeah, I like Ohio State by a couple of touchdowns here. Ohio State may just bulldoze their way through this whole thing. They might. They have as many dudes or more dudes than anybody. They'll just outdude Indiana, who I give them credit for being a good program. Now, there's no doubt back-to-back playoff. They're good. They're good. They're good. They're one of the better programs. I still think to some extent they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. I'm still too old school to accept the fact that Indiana's a top 5 program. I like Ohio State here.
And their non-con pisses me off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, they've been to back-to-back playoffs. Guess who hadn't? Guess who hadn't been to any playoffs? Auburn, Florida,
Alabama. Well, we're about to make one.
No, I'm saying any playoffs at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they're back-to-back. They're back-to-back. That's impressive. So you've
Georgia
got
Tech.
to give them a ton of credit. I just am slow to embrace the idea that they're a top 5 team. So I like Ohio State 14-17, maybe more.
USC hadn't made the playoffs.
And I do think Texas Tech, I didn't pick Texas Tech will beat BYU. There was a lot of talk that if Texas Tech, when Alabama was ranked 10th and if BYU upset Texas Tech, Alabama's falling out because they're going to keep Texas Tech in. Okay. If that's true or that should have been the case, then Texas Tech should beat the crap out of BYU again.
Yeah, agreed.
Prove that you should stay in if, quote, Alabama or Notre Dame fall out. Because I'm not convinced. They have a very low strength of schedule. The lowest one of all the playoff contenders is Texas Tech. So I still think they're in the prove it, but they may prove it. They may prove it. And if they are impressive in beating BYU again, I'll start being a believer there.
And then finally, just because I said we do it, Duke and Virginia, a game only a desperate mother could love. Holy cow. ACC, what are you doing? The ACC's commissioner is the commissioner equivalent to Penn State's AD. Just, oh my God, you better figure out something quick, man. You should have, if you had Miami in this thing, you're covered. You're good instead of Duke. But instead, you've got a Duke team that's already got 5 losses.
That's Miami. It's Miami's fault for losing to Louisville.
It is Miami's fault too. No doubt.
Neither Louisville nor SMU is in the top 25.
Correct.
They have 2 non-top 25 losses. And who did they beat? Notre Dame. That's awesome. What's their next best win? South Florida? And in part, that's the ACC schedule. But Yeah, I like Virginia to win here. How about this? I think their coach, what's his name? Tony something or other. Elliott. Is that
Tony
right?
Elliott, yeah.
Yeah. Never taken Virginia to the postseason. Never. Now he finally will in the playoff. They hadn't even gone to a bowl under Tony Elliott. Now in the playoff. That's remarkable and amazing. And shout out to Chandler Morris. I think Chandler Morris, he's not a superstar, but he's guided Virginia to the ACC championship in the playoff. And I think
don't
Virginia will
want
beat
Virginia to win. Well, actually, I kind of do. I don't care. It doesn't matter. If Virginia gets in or whatever dump truck Sunbelt team gets in, they're sacrificial lambs. We got to fix this whole thing. We got to make it where it's the 12 best teams or 16 best teams and quit worrying about hurting people's feelings.
I think a caveat should be that we do things just as they are, just as the format is, but you have to be ranked at a certain point or you don't.
You can't.
The top 5 highest ranked group of 5 teams, but you have to be in the top 20. Something
That's
like
fair.
that. Yeah.
Who can bitch about that? I mean, seriously. So anyway, all right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back post game tomorrow. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.